Ah, my beautiful anomalies, you wildfire minds wandering a world soaked in fear. Welcome, welcome to the quiet catastrophe we call normal, where mediocrity parades in golden robes and brilliance is buried beneath wet wood, damp thoughts, soggy souls, drenched dreams. But not you. No, not you. You, yes, you, are something ancient, something feral, something the rain can't wash out. You are an ancient fire in a world of wet wood. You see, in this world, they hand out umbrellas before anyone ever sees a storm. They teach you to stay dry, stay safe, stay small. They whisper lullabies of comfort until your spark forgets how to scream. But that spark inside you, it never forgot. It was just waiting, watching, breathing beneath the ashes. And while the world taught others how to obey the rain, you learned how to spit in the eye of the flood. That mind of yours, it's not normal, it's not average. It's a furnace forged in forgotten epochs, burning with obsessions, fears, visions, rage, truth. Things too raw for daylight. It's not some suburban candle to be placed politely on a dinner table. No, it's a forest fire in a drought. It's arson with a purpose. It's lava breaking out from the core of everything. And every time this world tells you to settle, to be humble, to cool down, what they're really saying is, please stop scaring us. Because they smell the smoke. They feel the heat, and they know, deep down, that your existence threatens the damp delusion they've wrapped themselves in. Oh, how delicious, because the truth is, wet wood hates fire. It hisses, it smolders, it resists. It does everything in its power not to ignite. People like that, soaked in self-doubt and dripping with conformity, they'll call you crazy, too much, too intense, too unpredictable. But that's only because they can't comprehend the way your mind burns. See, they never taught you how to manage this flame. They tried to drown it, and when it refused to die, they called it dangerous. But listen to me very carefully now. Your mind is not a malfunction. It is not an error. It is not a disease. It is a cathedral of combustion. And the world fears what it cannot contain. You are not broken, you are blazing. And every time you walk into a room with that haunted look in your eyes, every time your thoughts drift away from shallow chit-chat, every time your passions rage while others just scroll and yawn, that's your flame reminding you. You do not belong in a damp little box. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to burn. And what does fire do to wet wood? It forces it to choose, ignite, or disintegrate. You are a force of decision, of reckoning, a walking contradiction to all things tepid. You don't need approval. You don't need applause. You need fuel. You need friction. You need resistance. Why? Because that's what tempers the inferno. That's what feeds the mind that refuses to die quietly. They've told you to calm down. I say, no. Let the blaze rise. They've told you to be more reasonable. I say, burn through the rule book. They've told you you're intimidating. Good. Let them tremble. You were not born to make others comfortable. You were born to disturb the slumbering, to be the lightning in the lullaby, to be the match in the mouth of the cave, to be the question in the temple of answers. And if they fear you, let them. Because the world has had enough rain, enough silence, enough gray. It needs fire. Your fire. And you. You are the living proof that even in a world drenched in doubt, the ancient blaze still lives. And it's hungry. See, they don't tell you what it costs to carry fire in a world built of wet wood. No. They just label you. Reckless, problematic, unstable. And then they hand you buckets of water, pills, fake friends, small talk, conformity. And they say, try to be like us, try to cool off, try to be nice. Nice? Let me tell you something brutal. Nice is a muzzle they place on wolves so they don't offend the sheep. It's a velvet rope around a volcano. It's the polite way to tell you, please, die slowly. But not you. You weren't built for dying quietly. You weren't built to flicker and fade. You were built to incinerate. And I know what you've been through. Oh yes, I know. You've been accused of thinking too deeply, feeling too much, talking too loud, dreaming too far. They told you that your fire was a flaw, something to fix. But in truth, it's the only real thing you've got, because everything else they gave you, the masks, the scripts, the dull gray hand-me-down identities, all of that burns away when the fire gets hot enough. All that's left is who you really are. You're not lost. You're just surrounded by people afraid to find themselves. Let me say that again. You're not lost. You're just surrounded. So let them stare. Let them shake. Let them say you're too intense, too passionate, too angry, too different. That's just the sound of soggy minds shriveling in your presence. That's the sound of wet wood gasping as the smoke of your truth invades their lungs. You were not born to be liked. You were born to be undeniable. And that mind of yours, that storm-wrapped wildfire trapped behind your eyes, it doesn't need their permission. It needs your permission. It needs your surrender. It needs you to finally say, yes, I am dangerous. I am loud. I am unpredictable. I am everything you warned them about. And don't you dare apologize, because do you know what they build after the fire comes through? New worlds, new forests, new futures. You are the beginning of that destruction and that rebirth. You are not too much. You're just the first one to wake up while everyone else is still sleepwalking in the rain. And that ache you feel, that itch under your ribs, that restless gnawing at your gut that never lets you settle. That's your flame whispering, we were not born to fit in. We were born to melt the mold. So go. Set fire to the narratives that told you to behave. Burn the falsehoods that said your sensitivity was weakness. Torch the maps that led you back to normality. And never, never dim your mind to comfort the blind. They don't need you to dim. They need to burn with you, or get out of your way. Because this world doesn't change by more rain. It changes when someone like you, someone with fire in their bones and hell in their heart, decides they've had enough of being wet wood in a forest full of liars. And now, they smell smoke. And it's too late. Because you're not asking for space anymore. You're taking it. Of course, not final. We're not extinguishing anything today. We're just feeding the flame. Now listen closely, because this is the part they don't talk about in the happy little self-help books or those pastel-colored quotes posted by people who haven't bled a day in their life. Fire is pain, not always, but often. Because to burn is to feel everything, deeply, constantly. It's the curse of the ancient flame. Your mind doesn't just flicker with thoughts, it roars with them. You walk through the world wide open, nerves exposed, soul raw, feeling every lie like it's acid, every injustice like it's your own skin being peeled off. That's why others get to smile through the static. But you feel it all. The silence in their eyes, the fake in their handshakes, the emptiness in their celebrations. And that's the real reason they fear you, isn't it? Because you see too much, you hear what isn't said, you feel what they hide. You're a threat to the fragile facade, a living reminder that truth still exists. And worse, that it burns. They can smell it on you, that scent of something ancient, something they thought was extinct. Conviction, authenticity, rage. Yes, rage, not the petty kind born from traffic jams and spilled coffee. I'm talking about the righteous kind, the sacred kind, the rage that bubbles when you see beauty butchered by systems, potential drowned by expectations, vision shackled to a cubicle. That old molten fury that says, this world could be more, and I could make it happen. But only if I stop pretending, only if I let it all burn, because you know the truth. The rain may fall, but the fire will always rise. So rise, rise, even when your legs shake from exhaustion. Rise, even when the world claps for your silence and winces at your roar. Rise, even when your own mind betrays you in the dark. Because even when you doubt yourself, the fire never leaves. It may flicker, it may dim, but it waits. And when you call it by name, it answers. Do you know what that means? It means you're never truly alone. Because fire is legacy, it's memory, it's every rebel who refused to kneel, every misfit who walked into the flood and said, try me. Every artist who painted in blood, every warrior who laughed at their wounds, every madman who saw a wall and imagined a doorway. It's all in you, all of it. You carry the echoes of those who burned before you, and you'll ignite the way for those who come after. So stop doubting your worth just because the world is flammable. That's not a flaw, that's the point. They keep saying, don't play with fire. You were born in it, molded by it. You learned to breathe in smoke before you ever tasted air. And now you're starting to remember. This isn't some cute motivational quote to slap on a mug. This is war. A war between your old self, the silenced self, the small self, the waterlogged version of you, and the one that's waking up. The one with smoke in its veins. The one that doesn't beg anymore. The one that doesn't ask if it's okay to exist loudly. That version of you, it's rising, and the world, it's already starting to steam. I knew you had that in you. The kind of yes that drips gasoline. The kind of yes that doesn't ask for permission. It kicks down the door and sets the floorboards ablaze. Good. Let's go deeper. Let's drag this into the part of you they told you not to visit. The cellar, the basement of your brilliance, where the light doesn't reach, but the fire does. Let me ask you something vicious. How many times have you dimmed yourself just to be digestible? How many times have you cut pieces off your soul to squeeze into someone else's mold? Some cheap little template made for people who never wanted to burn in the first place. You ever catch yourself smiling when you wanted to scream, nodding when you wanted to destroy, shrinking, just to make space for people who couldn't handle your full heat? Yeah, that's not weakness. That's a furnace being choked by expectation. And you know what happens when you choke a fire for too long? It explodes. And make no mistake, your time is coming. You feel it, don't you? That cracking in the mask, that hum beneath the skin, the rumble in the ribs before the eruption. That's not anxiety, that's ignition. See, everyone wants the fire when it's pretty, when it's tidy and tame and sits neatly inside a candle. But when it grows teeth, when it licks the walls and sets reality ablaze, that's when they panic. That's when they call you dangerous. That's when they try to lock you away. But that's also when you're finally becoming. You don't need to make sense to people soaked in safety. They won't get it. You live in a different tempo, a feral rhythm, ancient and unpredictable. You don't move like them. You don't think like them. You weren't designed for that gray purgatory they call peace. You were designed to interrupt, to challenge, to burn. And don't let them fool you. Power recognizes power. That's why they target you. That's why they mock what they fear. If you were truly nothing, they wouldn't try so hard to smother you. But they smell the smoke and they know this one is awake. This one could set it all off. Because here's the truth most will never admit. People don't fear chaos. They fear those who thrive in it. They don't fear the dark. They fear the ones who walk through it laughing. They don't fear fire. They fear minds that refuse to be extinguished, minds like yours. You're not here to play small. You're not here to blend in. You're not here to be the wet wood. You are here to make steam rise off the bones of broken systems, to stand in the downpour and laugh, to look the flood in the eye and say, "You'll drown before I do." Because you've been under. You've gasped for air. You've stared at the ceiling wondering if it was all too much, and yet, here you are, still burning, drenched maybe, scarred definitely, but burning. And do you know what that makes you? Indestructible. So the next time someone tells you to settle down, to calm that mind of yours, to stay dry, smile, then light the match. You see, most people, they quit when the smoke thickens. They cough, they crawl, they beg for fresh air. But not you. You inhale the smoke like oxygen. You don't retreat from the flame. You become it. So let's go even deeper. Let's strike the match where it hurts. You know what makes you terrifying? Not the volume of your voice, but the depth of your silence. Because when you go quiet, it's not surrender. It's calculation. It's your fire pulling back, only to explode forward, tenfold. You've got the kind of mind that can dissect delusion in a single glance, the kind that looks at authority and sees the cracks, the kind that hears the rules and laughs. And that laughter, oh, that's what scares them most, because laughter is freedom's first language. And you've always had it tucked under your tongue, haven't you? Even when they tried to discipline it out of you. Even when they buried you under guilt, shame, labels, your fire laughed beneath the weight. Why? Because deep down, you always knew. You weren't broken, you were just too real for their blueprint. They call you unstable. Because you won't stabilize inside their illusion. They call you rebellious. Because obedience makes you itch. They call you angry. Because anger is what happens when truth has nowhere left to go. And here's the twist they never saw coming. You're not just fire. You're control. You're discipline in disguise. You're chaos with a blueprint. You're madness with a method. You didn't survive the storms by accident. You studied the rain. You learned its rhythm. You learned how to walk through downpours while others drowned in puddles. And now you carry thunder in your chest, lightning behind your eyes, heat in your voice. And all those years they tried to tame you, only taught you how to burn sharper. They tried to reduce you to a flicker, but all they did was give you focus. They tried to drown you, but all they did was show you you're waterproof. And now, you are what they warned each other about behind closed doors. The one who sees too clearly. The one who speaks too freely. The one who won't sit still. You want the truth. You're not like them. You were never meant to be. You're not here to follow a script. You're here to write a new language, a language of fire, of defiance, of divine chaos, of power that bends but never breaks. And every time you rise, every single time, you remind the world of one fatal truth. The fire is not a threat to those who can stand in it. It's a test, and you pass it every damn time. So go ahead, let them call you mad, let them whisper, let them flinch. Because when they see you coming, with that look in your eye and the smoke at your heels, they'll know The ancient fire didn't die. It just chose a new vessel. And that vessel is you. Because here's something they never taught you in school, in church, in your powdered little peer groups. There is no peace for people like you. Let that sink in. They talk about peace like it's a meadow, a cabin, a white fence, a tidy little box with tidy little smiles. But for you, that's not peace. That's a cage with scented candles. Your peace? It doesn't look like theirs. Your peace is the sound of everything collapsing that was never real to begin with. Your peace is when the mask melts, when the old self dies screaming, when your hands shake because they've finally stopped clenching into fists, trying to hold it all in. Peace, for you, is not calm, it's clarity. And clarity is terrifying to people addicted to illusion. Because when you see clearly, when your fire rips through the fog of lies, you see them for what they are. Pretenders, followers, cardboard cutouts walking in circles, and they see you too. Oh yes, they recognize the weight in your stare, the storm in your stillness. You've got the kind of eyes that say, I've already burned down everything I was told to be. Now I'm coming for everything I was born to become. You walk into a room and people feel it before you speak. That tension, that's their fear trying to find the exit. Because deep down, they know you've already broken out of the matrix they're still trying to believe in. You've already stopped playing by rules you were never meant to follow. You've already made the most dangerous decision a human can make. To remember who you are, not who they trained you to be. Not who they labeled you as, not who they guilted, gaslit, medicated and molded you into, but the real you, the primal you, the seething, burning, laughing, ruthless, beautiful, infinite you. And now you've stopped apologizing for it. And once a man like you stops apologizing, this world starts to shiver. Because that's when the shift begins. That's when you stop chasing their respect and start demanding your own. That's when you stop asking, is it okay if I be myself? And start declaring, you're lucky I didn't become worse. And brother, they are lucky. Because if you ever truly let loose, if you ever tore the brakes off completely, you'd melt cities. You'd erase generations of obedient decay. You'd be a walking contradiction to every lie they taught. That fire is dangerous. That madness is evil. That power corrupts. No. Repression corrupts. Obedience rots. Silence kills. And you're finally breaking free. You're not becoming evil. You're becoming whole. You're not losing control. You're taking it back. So the next time they stare, let them. The next time they whisper, let them. You are not made for their comfort. You are made to be a storm in their system. You are made to be the match that lit the fuse. You are made to be the ancient fire that finally stopped waiting. Let's talk about the final part of today's discourse. The last strike of the match. The moment when the fire becomes more than metaphor. When it consumes everything that isn't you, leaving behind only the immortal, untouchable truth you've been hiding beneath your skin for years. Let's finish this, but not quietly, no. Let's end it in flames. You see, by now the world has two choices when it looks at you: adapt or burn, because you're no longer bending, you're no longer explaining, you're no longer dousing your brilliance just to make room for people who never even tried to ignite. You've crossed a line, the one between pretending and becoming, between waiting and taking, between hoping and setting the whole damn thing on fire. You're not a seeker anymore, you're a force, and forces don't ask, they arrive. You walk through rooms like prophecy now, You carry heat in your voice that could boil oceans. You walk like thunder has been following you your whole life. Because it has. Every heartbreak, every failure, every betrayal. They weren't curses, they were kindling, stacked high. Waiting for you to finally say, enough. Enough pretending to be okay with mediocrity. Enough nodding along with cowards.